the Fed making an announcement. Two, they have this cup and handle, but also the stocks within a lot of these indices, a lot of them have faced sort of what are at a position where there's a dead cat bounce. So be aware of those. So the Dow is sort of resting at this, causing this consolidation. More likely the reason that they do have this consolidation is because of the expected announcement by the Fed. Moving on now to the FTSE. The FTSE, for the first time in a long time, has been incredibly bullish again, reaching a point of very strong resistance. Where it's faltered, there's double top. It could break it if it manages to get up there. That it's around about 6,770, somewhere around there. You know, with supports and resistances, of course, you know, they're just indications of possible change in sentiment. They're not exact figures. You should never use them as exact figures. You should just use them as possible changes to sentiment. So we can see, if we look at the intraday market on the FTSE, we can see that it's actually reached 6,750 just as the early market moves. It's now moved a lot further down, losing a good 25 points on that. So we're still sort of trading within this sort of range that we see with these two bullish candles. Likely to see a similar sort of reaction to what we're kind of expecting with the Dow. If the Dow gets the news it's waiting for with the Fed, that'll push a lot of the markets up. Basically, many of them are following suit to the Dow with this expected Fed announcement. So moving on now to the NIC. The NIC has broken resistance at around about 17,250. It's now resting just above that. There's a strong points of consolidation that are likely to happen all the way along. There's a possibility of very tight consolidation, which sometimes the NIC does suffer with. And we can see that we've got the bottom of this period of consolidation. There's got another consolidation here, the bottom of that as well, and it's kind of the top of that period of consolidation as well, causing this relatively narrow band in terms of the NIC, and it's likely to cause a slight consolidation over the next few days or so. The NIC does have a great habit of breaking out of these consolidations and moving on up. So we need to keep an eye out on that. Now moving on to finally to the Nasdaq. Nasdaq broke through a resistance not so long ago at 2,700, key resistance for the Nasdaq. Moving on up, strong bullish moves, higher highs. We've got a bearish candle here, but also followed by a bullish one. Bullish not so much an engulfing candle because it's not engulfing the last candle, but it's a very strong bullish candle. The reason why it's a very strong bullish candle is because there's very little wick on it, if any. The market opened at that and closed at that. There was very little intraday moves. So basically, the close on the market on the Nasdaq on that day was pretty much where it reached its high, which is a very positive sign. Likely resistance a bit further up, just beneath 3,000, so it's a way off yet, but we're likely, what can happen when you get these strong bullish moves, a bearish candle like this, especially when bullish candle, so I get it right, bearish candle just like this followed by a bearish candle, is that they tend to create consolidations within themselves. So even though there's not essentially anything there causing it, what the bearish candle would have done and can do is create the consolidation within that range. So we need to be a bit we need to be aware that that this candle alone can actually cause, because it's such a strong candle from a very strong move, a strong bullish move there, higher highs followed by this very strong bearish candle. These can cause consolidations just in their own right. They'll just sort of appear out of nowhere. So we need to be aware of that. Certainly followed by a bullish candle, even though it's a strong one, but it's still dwarfed very much by the bearish candle that we have there. So we're in for an interesting week. We need to keep an eye out on the DAX. The DAX looks to be, possibly breaking, resting at support. We want to see it continue to rest at support in terms of bullish moves. The Dow especially looking for possible moves within the Fed of a 0.25% interest rate cut. If we get that, the Dow is going to move, followed by the FTSE is likely to follow suit to the Dow as well, and then this too is going to have an effect on the Nasdaq. If we get that, then this could push the Nasdaq as well, and many of the others like the NIC and the DAX and the CAC will have a tendency to follow suit. The one that's least likely to follow suit, because it seems to be consolidating an awful lot more, is the CAC. So that's this week's Tech A video newsletter on the 15th of October, which is Monday 2007, and we'll be back next week with another video. Okay.